This week on the Road with Mickey, the best animated shows on Disney Plus.
We're on the road with Mickey, we're gonna have some fun. Regardless of the rain or sun, our trip has just begun. So buckle up, let's go. We're about to start the show. And maybe if you like us, you'll see where else we'll go.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike, and she's Sophie.
And Brenda is MIA. We're not quite sure where she is.
But we do know that it is an excused absence
Yes.
and that she is on a cruise somewhere in the Mediterranean.
Yes.
So she is not with us,
But
but
Grogu is.
Grogu is. Hey buddy, and he says he misses his Aunt Brenda. We all do.
Speaking of Aunt Brenda, as we mentioned a while ago, she is actually on a cruise right now, and she was kind enough to send us some videos of her adventures, and we would like to share them with all of you.
Yeah, thank you, Brenda, for sending us that. It is so cool that we're still able to stay connected.
I
Now,
wish I was there.
so do I. Now, roll the clip.
I am walking around Olympia, Greece, where the first Olympics were held. There are so many areas here with such history. It's amazing. The landscaping is fabulous. So much history here. All before Jesus Christ's birth. I can't believe there were Olympics happening before Jesus Christ's birth. I guess I never really thought of it. Have a great day.
So, anyway, we're going to carry on as best we can. We are on the road with Mickey. This is episode 266 for May 19th, 2025. And our feature topic this week is the best animated shows on Disney Plus. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. This is something that we've had on our list of things to talk about for quite a while, but we figured this was a great time to bring it up. So,
Especially since Aunt Brenda admitted she has no horse in this race.
yeah. But before we get into that, we have some cheddar from the big cheese. And Sophie, you start us off with some awesome cheddar.
Yes, I love this cheddar. It's the best kind of cheddar. It's the cheddar that comes out right as the leaves are turning red and orange and yellow. And that is the dates for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. They have just been released in the spring. I know. The party dates will range from August 15th through October 31st this year, and tickets went on sale for resort guests on May 15th, so 4 days after the publishing of this episode.
4 days ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have some cool cheddar. New to the Disney Skyliner, there is a brand new set of wraps commemorating the 70th anniversary of the Muppets.
Oh, wow.
It is so cool looking. One side shows Statler and Waldorf staring down like they're critiquing, we'll say critiquing your choice of vacation activities. There's another one that has Mickey and Minnie and Fozzie Bear and so forth, and some other ones. Just it's just a really cool wrap, and it's all to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the Muppets.
Oh, wow. I think my favorite might be the one with Fozzie, Miss Piggy, and Sam the Eagle on them.
Yeah.
Because it's got Kermit on the side there underneath the rainbow with his Banjo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So I think it'd be really cool. That would be really cool to ride on that one.
it would be.
And bonus cheddar, the dates for the Food and Wine Festival for this year were also released. And the festival this year will be from August 28th through November 22nd, 2025.
I love the Food and Wine Festival.
Oh, I do too. I do too.
So, Daddy, I'd like to book a long weekend trip down somewhere between August and November, please.
Okay. We'll talk about that off air.
Okay.
Why don't you tell how people can connect with us?
All right then. Well, this is very, very complicated, so please bear with me. We have a lot of different ways that you can connect with us, starting with our Facebook page and Facebook group, which are both ontheroadwithmickey.com. You can also find us on YouTube at On the Road with Mickey. We also have an Instagram page called On the Road with Mickey. We have an email that is info@ontheroadwithmickey.com. Shocker, I know. And we also have a website. I will give you $5 if you can guess what the name of it is. If you guessed On the Road with Mickey, well done. You win.
Yeah, just a little fact, I'm not sending $5. Okay.
I know, that's why you didn't say it, but neither am I. I need to pay for my nails, okay?
All right. So, our featured topic this week, great job, Sophie. Thank you for doing that. Our featured topic this week is the best animated shows on Disney Plus. And um, we debated how many to do, and we came up with our top 5. Okay. And I always put mine in a ranking. Sophie, I don't know if you did or not, but
I did, but it was very, very difficult.
okay. Well, then do you want to start us off or do you want me to start us off?
Um, I'll let you start us off because I have a lot of different shows on my lists, and I know that I watch more animated TV than you do.
Mhm.
So I
Okay.
want to make sure that I don't steal your thunder.
Okay. Well, even if you do, you probably would not get the same ranking. So it would
True,
be okay.
true.
But coming in at number 5 is a cute little spin-off show that is called Cars on the Road. And what it is Lightning McQueen and Mater traveling America to go visit Mater's sister. And it's just simple little episodes. They go to different areas and then they have an episode about it and then they move on to the next stop and there's an episode about it and they're making their way across the country to see Mater's sister. So it's called Cars on the Road and you can find it on Disney Plus and I recommend you go check it out.
That is actually a really cute one, and no, that was not on my list.
Okay. I think most of mine will not be on your list. I just have a
Yeah,
hunch.
there is a possibility of that. All right, then. Well, my number 5, and I have so many, so this can change depending on my mood or the day, but these are the number 5 that I compiled. My number 5 is a relatively new show for Disney. Relatively, I say that because it's already finished. It's like there are no more episodes coming out, but it is the newest on my list, and that would be Star versus the Forces of Evil. Um, the show is about a magical girl who is a princess. Her name is Star, and
Hmm.
she inherits her mother, the Queen's magic wand, and she does not know how to use it at first. So the premise of the show is that she is sent to a different dimension than the one she was born in, and that dimension happens to be the one that we live in with Earth and regular things like cars and hot dogs, and a boy named Marco who ends up becoming her roommate because she obviously needs a home to stay in while she's in this new dimension. And over the course of the show, she learns how to use her magic, she learns how to use it responsibly, she learns how to be a good queen, and all the while Marco is there like her knight in shining armor that also knows Taekwondo. It's fun, it's silly, and it's a very good show in my opinion. I was not a big fan of the ending of it. I don't think a lot of people who watched it were, but the show itself is a fun one, and I'm very happy to have watched it.
All right, cool.
Mhm.
Fill in your list, okay?
Yes, I will.
Because your titles are a lot longer than mine.
I know, that's why almost all of the time you'll see these shows being abbreviated. So Star versus the Forces of Evil is just SVTFO.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll let you type it in. Well, number 4 on my list is a fun one, and it's a Guardians of the Galaxy spinoff.
Ooh.
You've seen it, Sophie, and you liked it too, I think. And I am talking about the little shorts called I Am Groot.
Yeah,
And
we did
in
watch
it,
that.
they are such simple little 5-minute shows, but they're awesome because it's Groot getting into all sorts of mischief and having to figure out what do I do, and
Ye-
it's just so adorable.
I think one of my favorite clips that's been circling the internet as of late was from one of these little shorts, and it's where Groot is holding that picture that he drew of all of the Guardians of the Galaxy because he considers them as family, but he's
Yeah.
surrounded by destruction, and Rocket comes in and is like, this had better be a written apology. And then he looks at the picture and he's like, oh, well, this is very nice. We gotta get this framed.
Yeah.
It's so sweet.
It is. It is. And it's just awesome. And Groot is right. That is his family.
Yeah,
You know? It's so
it is a
cool.
very sweet one.
I like the one where um they take him away to put in like a rubber plant, a rubber tree.
Oh yeah, that's the first
That was
one.
the first one, and I'm like, oh boy, it's going down now.
That's where he takes his first steps.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
my gosh. Sweet
It's
little
really cute.
baby.
If you haven't found it, go on to Disney Plus and search for I Am Groot. And they're quick little snippets. They're not gonna take up like hours and hours and hours, and they're
Y-
just so much little fun. It's just such fun.
You could watch the entire series in, I think, half an hour.
Yeah, yeah. So we're not talking a big time crunch.
No,
So I Am Groot, number 4.
good one.
Thank you.
All right. My number 4, this is one that was on the Disney Channel before Disney Plus was a thing, but after Disney Plus was released and they moved all the shows on there, now this one you can watch in its entirety. You don't have to wait for the newest episode to come out. And this show is called Gravity Falls. Um,
Mm,
it was released when I was still in high school, like somewhere between freshman and sophomore years is when the first seasons came out. It was one that me and my best friend Jagan really bonded over because we really liked a lot of the characters in the show. I will say this, it is extremely paranormal. It focuses a lot on the supernatural. It follows these two twin siblings. You have Dipper, whose real name is Mason, and you have his twin sister Mabel, and they go to live with their great uncle Stan in this really rugged, foresty town in the middle of Oregon called Gravity Falls. And here a whole lot of weird things take place. And Dipper discovers that his great uncle Stan had a brother named Ford, and Ford kept a journal of all these different like monsters and anomalies and creatures. And so Dipper, being the curious little bookworm that he is, takes his sister Mabel, and they go on all sorts of adventures discovering these things that their Uncle Ford wrote about. And the end of the series ends with Dipper and Mabel and Uncle Ford and Uncle Stan and a whole bunch of the friends they made along the way defeating what could honestly be best described as the Illuminati.
Wow.
It's a huge thing. It starts off as fun and lighthearted, a lot like Star versus the Forces of Evil, but it ends like a Star Wars it ends like a Star Wars series with how serious it can get. It
Okay.
is an epic story.
Okay. All right. Well, Gravity Falls. There you have it. Number 4 on Sophie's list.
So that's that.
All right. Well, number 3. See, I'm getting down. We only did 5, which is good
Yeah,
because I actually found finding more than 5 that I actually watched, I found to be somewhat challenging for me. So
I
I'm
know.
glad we stuck to 5. But now we're getting into the top 3. 3, 2, and 1 were really hard for me to say which one goes where.
Yeah.
Um, except my number 1. My number 1 is number 1 for a reason, and I'll tell it when I get there.
Yeah.
But number 3 for me is The Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse. And it's just a bunch of
Ooh.
Mickey Mouse shorts and fun events, and it's just a cool little show. And it's just kind of like taking Disney and taking Mickey Mouse and taking the wonderful world of Disney and just kind of wrapping it all together. So totally
Was
recommend it.
is this the cartoon series that Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is based off of?
I don't remember exactly, but
Does
I
the
I
art
wouldn't
style
be
look the same?
yeah, but it wouldn't surprise me is what I was going to say. So, yeah. Um and so I think it's just a fun little show and worth checking out.
Yes, I just Googled it. Yes, the answer is yes. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is based off of The Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse.
Okay. So, so there you go. Number 3, The Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And the
That's a
question
real good
is
one.
it in the right spot in my ranking? That's really the question.
I think it might be. Because as you said, you were having trouble deciding if it should go between number 3 and number 2. So that tells me that whatever number 2 is on par and slightly greater than this one. And of course, your number 1 is special to you, as you said.
Yeah.
So I think it's in the right spot.
Okay. Well, time will tell, and it's all our opinions. So if someone disagrees, let us know. Leave us a
Yes.
comment on our YouTube channel. Leave us a comment in the show notes in the on the website, or send us an email,
Yeah.
and we'll respond and say, hey, this is what so and so said their number 5 is. In fact, what is your number 5 animated shows on Disney Plus? Let's open up a discussion dialogue.
I think that's a good idea, but I also want to say this. I think with a question like this, there are no wrong answers.
That's right.
As long as they're on Disney Plus, they are a valid choice.
Yep.
And that's what I'm sticking with when I choose my number 3, because I have a feeling when I say this, a lot of people are going to be like, Sophie, really? And I'm going to be like, Sophie, really? Because this is one of my favorites. And I know it annoys my parents and my boyfriend a lot that I like this show so much, but let me explain what the show is first.
Might
If
help.
you have if you have little ones, if you have little kids and they watch Disney as of late, then they have probably seen an episode or two of the show called Bluey. And it is definitely a kids show. It's not like Star or Gravity Falls at all. And it was definitely written for kids. But for me, the beauty of this show is that I really want to be a mom in the future. Once I get married, I want to have kids. I want to raise them to be lovely people when they grow up, and I want them to know that I'm going to love them, that their dad is going to love them, and that I want their childhood to be happy. And to me, Bluey is an excellent example of parenting when it's done gently, but also firmly. And that's the thing. Gentle parenting has become a new sort of parenting style in the last few years. It focuses on doing your best not to like lose your temper or yell at your children, which is not something that my dad had trouble with. Let me be clear. My dad was awesome, but
Thank you.
yeah, and it was made in Australia and it was brought to the US by Disney. It focuses on a family of healers, Australian blue healers and Australian red healers. There is the mom, Chili, the dad, Bandit, and their two daughters, Bluey and Bingo. And fun fact about Bandit, he was actually nominated for Dad of the Year a few years back, and that award is usually reserved for real life dads. So it
Nice.
just speaks to how good of a dad Bandit Healer is. And I think Chili is a really good mom, and I hope to be like her one day. So that's why I like Bluey. I like watching it because it makes me think, okay, this is how I'm going to treat my kids when I have my kids.
That's awesome. And you know what? I think people will have no problem whatsoever with you having Bluey on your list because I think it's one of the best also, even though I don't watch it that much.
You, yeah, you don't watch it a lot. You thought Bluey was a boy.
I did because he was blue. And you hear me saying because he's blue.
Because she is blue. She takes
Right.
after her dad,
Yeah.
you
So,
know, like
yeah, I had
me.
no idea. I had no idea. But that's okay. I don't need to know because that season had passed for me.
Yeah.
But Bluey is a good selection. I think a lot of parents out there totally agree. I know your aunt Stephanie, I mean your cousin Stephanie, totally agrees with your selection of Bluey. And
Yeah.
maybe the only question is should it be higher on your list?
The only reason it's not is because I'm very sure of my top two.
Okay. Well, good choice then, Sophie.
Thank you.
Now we are down to number 2 on my list, and this may be stolen from Sophie. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me because we both really like this show. And I am talking about The Bad Batch.
Actually, it was not because I remember when you and I were talking about this episode, you were like, I don't watch a lot of animated shows. And I'm like, tell you what, Daddy, I'll leave all the Star Wars to you.
Well, this is the only Star Wars one I have is The Bad Batch, and I think it was so well done, and I'm
It
sad that it's
was.
done. I'm sad that it's over, but it was really cool, and it was really neat to see how how they came up with it, and just the idea that one actor is doing all of those voices, except of course for Omega.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just so cool. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun and I really enjoyed it. And they were suspenseful shows and they were cool, and yet they still it was an animated drama,
It
which
was.
which is weird because you don't think of animation being dramatic. You think of it being like children and comedy and just kids and stuff like that. But this was actually a drama, and it was just really neat. So the Bad Batch is my choice for number two.
That is a good one, Daddy. And I will say this, since you liked the Bad Batch so much, I think it would be a really good idea for us to go back and watch the animated series Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
I think so too.
And also, there's another animated series called Star Wars Rebels, which it goes Clone Wars, Bad Batch, and then Rebels, I believe. If not, then Rebels and the Bad Batch are kind of conducive with each other. They take
Mhm.
place at the same time. I think it would be a really good idea for us to go and watch those together.
Yeah, we can do that. Absolutely. Let's plan on it.
All right, then. Well, it's my turn again.
Yeah.
And my runner-up, my second most beloved series, animated series, is probably, well, definitely not the first one I remember watching, but it's one that came out while I was in middle school,
Okay.
and it's one of my favorite memories from that time. It is called Phineas and Ferb.
Oh yeah.
And the premise of that show is very simple. You've got 104 days of summer vacation, and you've got two stepbrothers, actually, they're stepbrothers, and their names are Phineas and Ferb. And because they have no school to do during summer vacation, they need to figure out how they're going to spend their days. And almost always, they spend their days getting up to some serious projects. The very first episode, they built a roller coaster that went all over their city. And the funniest thing about it, they have an older sister. Her name is Candace. She's a teenager. And so naturally, whenever mom goes off to work, the oldest sibling is in charge. And she goes a little bit power hungry with it because she sees what her brothers are doing, and her immediate thought is, "Oh my gosh, I need to go get mom. They need to stop this. They need to get in trouble for this." And
Yeah.
somehow, despite all the ridiculous shenanigans these boys get up to, their mom never, ever sees it.
Yeah.
Not even once. I'm pretty sure
Phineas
their
and
dad.
Ferb is awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure their dad has seen it once, and all he said was, "That is very impressive."
Yeah.
It is hilarious.
It is. It's a good show.
It is.
And it's funny because I haven't seen that show in forever. And every now and again, of late especially, um, the on Sirius XM on the
Yeah.
Disney Hits channel, every now and again you get Phineas and the Furbettes singing "Gitchy Gitchy Goo" on the
Oh,
Sirius XM, and all of a sudden it started coming back on, and I'm like, wow, I haven't heard that in forever.
that song was so catchy.
Yeah.
But there's so much
So,
stuff going on in this show. I could list off so many things that would probably blow your mind about the show. But I'm not going to because we have other things that we need to talk about.
okay. Well, great selection, Sophie.
Yeah. Thank you.
And now it is time for number one, numero uno for each of us.
Wow.
And yeah, these shows go a little bit faster because Aunt Brenda's not here, but that's okay. Um, Number one for me, I love this show. I can watch them, and this is kind of like I Am Groot. They are very quick episodes, and you can watch them over and over and over again. And number one for me is Doug Days. Doug Days. Love it because you're talking about a golden retriever, and we are golden retriever people, aren't we, Sophie?
Yes, we
So,
absolutely are.
and every time I see Doug, I think of River and I think of
Mm.
Reagan, and uh, just I
No.
love it. Love it. So, Doug Days, and Doug is now the friend of Carl, living
Yeah.
with Carl. And every now and again, Russell comes by, and there's an episode where Russell is um,
Ta-
making the
the
voice,
talking collars.
yeah, the collars that make the animals talk, and Doug gets to hear, and so does Russell, but they get to hear exactly what's going through the mind of the squirrels and the birds and everyone, and it is so funny and it's so awesome, and it's like, oh my gosh, so cool. But yeah, it's a great show. Doug Days is
That
just,
is a good show.
man, and again, it's like a 10-minute episode,
Hmm.
so you're not got a huge time investment, and it was only on one season. um
Yeah.
and that was because the actor who portrayed Carl passed away, and I think that's why they only did one season. Maybe they only had plans to do one season, but yeah, it's like 8 episodes, so you can go watch it in a couple hours, and it's just so much fun. It's just so cute. So
Yeah.
Doug Days is numero uno on my list. So Sophie, what's number one on your list?
This series is really, really beloved by a whole bunch of people. If anyone knows exactly when it was produced, please tell me because I actually don't know. It's the oldest show on my list, but I know that it was definitely around when I was probably in late elementary school, probably before then, but it's simply called Lilo and Stitch, the series.
Oh, okay.
And I love Lilo and Stitch, and that's why this series is so near and dear to my heart. But the premise is it's after the event of the first movie. Lilo and Stitch are just going on about their lives when all of a sudden, all of these experiments that Dr. Jumba, Stitch's creator, made, they get released onto the island of Hawaii, and they start out as these little spheres, but when they touch water, then they activate and the experiment gets turned loose. And of course, anyone who knows Stitch knows that he's experiment 626. So
Hmm.
there are at least 265 other experiments running rampant on the island. And it's up to Lilo and Stitch to find these experiments and to help them integrate into society the way Stitch does, because anyone who knows the original movie knows that Stitch was meant for chaos and destruction, but by the end he became a model citizen, in the words of the social worker, and he became Lilo's best friend. And so all these other aliens are going through the exact same thing, and they are getting jobs around the island. I think the one that I remember most was it was this one that looked like a crown when you wore it on your head,
Uh-huh.
and it made everyone else get mind controlled so that they thought you were the center of the universe and they started to worship you. Well, that one, once it got captured and repurposed, became am attendant for birthday parties. Like, you know how princesses would be hired to do kids' birthday parties?
Yep.
That one accompanied a birthday party actress, and she would crown whoever the little birthday girl was with the crown and be princess for a day.
Okay. Well, I have an answer.
Yeah.
Lilo and Stitch, the series, premiered on ABC of all places
Holy cow.
September 20th, 2003, as part of ABC Kids, with a delayed premiere on the Disney Channel on October 12th, 2003. The series ended on July 29th, 2006, after airing 65 episodes in 2 seasons.
Holy cow. So it was nowhere near when I was in late elementary school. That thing was done by the time I was in kindergarten.
Yeah,
But either way, it's still one of the best series I've ever watched.
yeah. And that is according to AI on Google. So, but it seems like that would be logical because Lilo and Stitch came out in 2001, right?
Yeah, 2001, 2002.
Yeah. So that makes
Oh,
sense. All right. Speaking of Lilo and Stitch, Sophie, are you going to go see the new movie?
I would like to.
I wonder if it'll be as good.
Who knows?
None of us until we see it, actually. And that
Yeah.
is coming out. This release date is May 19th, right? So that's coming out this week.
Yeah.
I think on the 22nd or 23rd. So it'll be right around the corner. So Lilo and Stitch the series is Sophie's number one choice. Now, listeners, friends, that asks us to ask you, what are your top 5 animated shows on Disney Plus? So I'm going to put it out in the Facebook group. That is On the Road with Mickey group on Facebook. And I will ask the question and let's see what kind of responses we get. And then we'll go ahead and share those next week. But that is our feature topic for this week. And it is now time for This Day in Disney History for May 19th. So, Sophie, take it away.
Okay, well, I've got a really, really good one, I think. The year is 1906. So a
Wow.
very long time ago. On May 19th, the voice actor slash sound effects man, musician, and creator of hundreds of one-of-a-kind gadgets and props, James MacDonald, is born in Monk's Copenhagen, England. He and his parents, Richard and Minnie, sailed to the United States in November of 1906 when he was only a month old. Okay, maybe not a month old. And young
Yeah.
James grew up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. While playing drums and percussion with a band for the Dollar Steamship Lines in 1934, McDonald's was called to the Disney Studios to record music for a Mickey Mouse cartoon. His impeccable timing and talent earned him a permanent position to form the sound effects department at the studios. In 1946, Walt Disney personally selected MacDonald to take over the voice of Mickey Mouse. His Mickey credits include Mickey's Trailer, Mickey and the Beanstalk, and the TV series House of Mouse, as well as such animated classics as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, and Alice in Wonderland. He also made brief live action appearances in Fantasia and Toby Tyler or 10 Weeks with the Circus. MacDonald was also the original voice actor for Chip, one half of the duo Chip and Dale. He voiced Mickey Mouse until his retirement in 1976, at which point he was replaced by his sound effects protege, Wayne Allwine, for the new Mickey Mouse Club. An original member of the popular jazz group the Firehouse 5 plus 2, MacDonald was named a Disney legend in 1993, 2 years after his passing.
Wow. Yeah. So, what a,
Also,
I guess you could say he was old McDonald.
also, he has a wonderful mustache. There's a picture of him up here.
Mhm.
All right, then. Well, that's my history.
Well, that was great history, Sophie. Talk about, could you imagine Walt selecting you? Hey, I want you to be Mickey Mouse. I mean,
Oh,
because Walt was Mickey Mouse.
yeah.
He was the voice for a long time. And to have him say, James McDonald, I want you to be Mickey Mouse. How awesome
Yeah.
is that?
That would be amazing.
Wow. Well, it is time to see if I can stump the Soph.
I will let you try.
Yeah. Um, this character is an arch enemy to another character.
Okay, I have some ideas. Keep
Yeah.
going.
This character has a blaster.
Syndrome.
No.
No?
No.
Wow.
Um, this character was freed from his box at a toy store.
It's either Buzz Lightyear or Emperor Zurg. I
Yeah,
think
but
it's Emperor Zurg.
because of why?
The blaster.
And because what was the first clue?
He's the arch enemy of Buzz. They're both arch enemies of each other, though.
Well, true, but you don't think of Buzz Lightyear as an arch enemy.
You
So,
could.
so the answer is Emperor Zurg. So you are correct. It is Emperor Zurg.
Thank you.
And he shoots, his weapon of choice is a blaster. It shoots ion pellets, and Zurg keeps it in a special ammo pack fitted into his cape. And if you remember, Zurg was defeated by a surprising opponent known as Rex.
Yeah.
Because he was about to get Buzz, and Rex was so upset and he spun around and he knocked Zurg off his feet with his tail. So Emperor Zurg from the Toy Story movies. Yep. So there you go. Emperor Zurg is our character of the week. And that takes us to a little bit of Walt, and I am going to play the role of Brenda for a little bit of Walt, okay?
I think that's a great idea.
Next week, you play the role of Brenda.
Okay, yeah, because she'll be gone for multiple weeks.
Yep. All right. Well, a little bit of Walt, and speaking of animation shows, I think this is a great quote, and that's why I looked for a quote based on it. And Walt said, animation can explain whatever the mind of man can conceive. Walt Disney, simple and sweet, and we know he was the king of animation.
It really was.
Not Charles Muntz.
No.
So,
Well, Charles Mintz is the real man's name. Charles Muntz is the character that was based off of him.
yeah, but neither one of them. So,
Neither one of them.
yeah. Well, my friends, that wraps us up for this week. Next week, we will be without Brenda again because she's gone for at least 2 weeks. It might even be 3 recordings before we see Brenda back. I'm not 100% certain on that yet. Depends on when our recordings are.
I don't know how we're gonna manage without her.
Well, we're going to get by just like we did today, right?
You're right. You're right.
All right. Well, coming up next week, we are talking Star Wars movies. And Sophie and I, and is Grogu going to have a list?
Yes, of course he is.
Okay. Well, we need to get Grogu's list too, okay?
We do.
Grogu and Sophie and I are going to be sharing what our top 3 Star Wars movies are. So there's a lot of movies in that spectrum. Everything
You're
from
right.
The Phantom Menace to, what is it?
Rise
The
of
Rise of
Skywalker.
Skywalker. Thank you.
And there are other spin-off movies too. One has
That
to
go in
remember
there.
that.
Yeah, because I wasn't even thinking of that when Sophie mentioned what one of hers was. And I'm
Mhm.
like, wow, that makes a total amount of sense. Because it's all in that range. It
Yeah.
takes us through the genealogy in a way. So, coming up next week is our top 3 Star Wars movies. So listen in and give us your list as well. But until next week, Sophie and I and Grogu hope you have a wonderful week. Brenda, we already know you're having a wonderful week, and we miss you, and we look forward to hearing and seeing you when you get back. This week, I hope everyone has a great week, and if you are having a rough week, I hope someone shares a smile. So everyone, remember to share a smile, because you don't know what change that could make in someone's day or their life just because you were friendly and shared a smile with them. So
You're right.
until next week, I'm Mike, she's Sophie, and that's Grogu, and we will
See you
see
on
you on
the
the
road.
road. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.